Alright, it is officially day 3 of 31 days of Horrorween, and our selection for this time around is, actually one of the more omnipresent horror films from the 1930s. And obviously this is a film where, because it's in the public domain, or at least it was in the public domain, it was always included in those compilation 50 horror movies on one DVD selections from the mid-2000s. The ones that had Night of the Living Dead and Adam Age of the Empire. But anyway, this is one of those movies where it kind of resides in the fair to middling category. I mean, it's definitely got some nice aspects, but overall, I say it's kind of an okay little offering. It's a film whose title obviously inspired one of the most iconic horror-themed musical acts in the 20th century. That's right, the Misfits. It's a movie called White Zombie from 1933, I want to say. 1933 or 1932. Well, anyway, it's a movie starring Bela Lugosi. He plays this voodoo slave baron in the Caribbeans. And as the name implies, he's basically using zombifying potions to turn all the locals into mindless laborers. And in keeping with the spirit of the title, it's one of those movies where, it's kind of implicitly implied that it's kind of okay to mind control native black people in the Caribbeans to do slave labor, but as soon as you start using white people for it, it's bad. So I mean, there's a lot of entertaining values dissonance kind of going on there, but I don't know, it's just what it is. It's a product of its time. So as far as the film itself, I mean, it's kind of a mixed bag, because there's some stuff in this movie I really, really enjoyed. Number one, Bela Lugosi. He's just got such a great genre persona. He just really brings us to the next level. And he's walking around basically doing his best Dracula imitation. I mean, he plays the same character in every movie, but it's so effective. And he really kind of takes it and makes it his own. And you totally buy into him being a creepy, sort of supernatural, you don't know what his motives are. I mean, it's just a really, really nuanced performance. I mean, it's not, world class or anything. Let's don't get carried away. But it is nonetheless pretty interesting and entertaining. He does a pretty good job of carrying the movie. But really, the absolute best thing about the movie, the cinematography. I mean, the black and white images of this movie are as good, if not better, than Night of the Living Dead, despite the fact this movie came out 30 years earlier. As far as, aesthetically, what makes the film so captivating, there are two scenes in particular that really stand out to me. If you don't watch the full movie, catch this stuff out on the Netflix or the YouTube or whatever you got. Sorry about that, my phone. So anyway, the scenes are, there's this scene very, very, very early on where we're actually seeing the mill where the sugar's being processed. Oh, that's what the zombies are used for. Used to make sugar, because that's symbolism or something. And there's this mill, and they have the zombies shambling around, and it's just this really, really, really great scene where you got the guys just stumbling around and falling into the grinders and getting cut up. I mean, it's just really, really good. It's so stark, and the performances are so great. I mean, it's one of those things where the cinematography just feels like it should be used in a movie. It's 20 times better. And there's also a great, 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 great scene at the end. I'm going to spoil the movie, but I don't care. It's 70 years old. 80 years old, actually. My bad. And it's the part where Bela Lugosi, he kind of commands all of his zombie troops to jump off a cliff. So you see these guys flying off one after another. It's pretty funny. As far as the plot, it's your standard mad professor, evil baron kind of plot. You got him sitting around whittling a candle. That's another thing about the movie. It's a recurring theme. It's the beginning when you see Bela Lugosi, he has a candle, and he starts whittling it. And throughout the entire movie, you see him making this little miniature man figurine soap guy. And it's just one of those weird things. It doesn't really add up to much in the end. So yeah, we're not exactly getting, waiting for, Godot, or waiting for Guffman, or dinner with Andre, or even Andre. I don't know. What's going to be with Andre the Telephone? I dinner with Andre Various movie. But yeah, he's got all that stuff going on. But at the same time, I mean, outside of the aesthetics and the acting, I mean, it does feel a little too stereotypical. like the characters kind of go through the notions. You got the damsel in distress. You got the Von Harker or Van Helsing, whatever you want to call him. The protagonist out there doing stuff. So it's all very much by the numbers. It's not really, you never really feel like the characters are truly in jeopardy at any point in the picture. So that's kind of, this kind of feels a little weak-kneed. It's not really that spooky. It doesn't really have that atmosphere that even something like, Nosferatu had. So that's points off. But really, the thing about this movie that you will absolutely hate, and I don't know why they did this movie has one of the absolute most annoying characters in film history. There's like this crow or a raven who shows up just to periodically let out the most god-awful, ear-bleeding, metallic shriek you've ever heard. He just shows up out of the blue, and his voice is like 8 times louder than everything else in the movie, and it's not spooky, it's just really frustrating. So, really, really poor audio decision on the part of these guys who made the movie 80 years ago. I'll blame them for that. So anyway, overall, it's pretty interesting. It's entertaining. I mean, at least see it for the cinematography. That's really cool. Kind of the recurrent theme with the horror films from the early part of the 20th century. Really not a whole lot going on plot-wise for the most part, but at least the visuals and the aesthetics are cool, and it's kind of fun to look at the symbolism, with the sugar plantations and workers' rights and peasants and all that other fun stuff. So, it's about half and half. So, using the patented Roger Ebert quarter-star rating system, I'm going to give this one, I don't know, once again, kind of going in the C plus B minus territory. I'm going to give it 2.5 pieces of candy corn. It's pretty good. Day 4's coming up next.